Oh boy, what a week. What a week, guys. What a couple of weeks. Eh.
But it looks like you just came from hell. Oh wait, you did.
Yeah. We got some topics to discuss, though. One of the co-hosts that is wanted to be part of this won't be on for at least another 20 or so minutes. But he'll hop in once he gets here. In the meantime, we can all talk about other shit. As I have Pain of the Universe playing in the background because holy shit. You know what? I'm popping up the picture now because we now have a new reaction picture. I need to put this on the server as a meme or as a picture because what the actual fuck? This picture from an old 1980s cartoon based on Donkey Kong. This picture of Mario in that, where he's just this face, where he's just so fucking done with everything. Just a cold hard stare. I'm just dead inside. We just happened to discover that by happenstance. And I just switched to a different tab, so it cut the music. That's stupid. You know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna play the original version in the background now.
We're just sitting there killing some time. Like, okay, let's kill some time until game time, and then suddenly we saw that.
Yeah, it's on the screen now. Because it just says everything.
That Fallout look though.
Holy crap! It's just I haven't been on actual regular or like on the server in regular voice with everyone else because I go to work, I come home from work. Work's been so hectic, I'm basically dead to the world, and I just lay the fuck down and I just either watch YouTube or I go to bed and just sleep. Because everything has just been so hectic, and I'm like, and we are just now reaching the halfway point. And I haven't done a regular show in a while. Well, one, we did the Let's Play instead. Because, well, just having just us talking and with stuff in the background, it's probably more entertaining if we had gameplay going on, so I might just go back to doing that, or at least have that as a format. Where we just talk and just have our conversations and shit. But while someone's playing a video game in the background, just so there's something that's a bit more interesting to look at. But then again, there's also stuff like this where people just listen to this on the phone or whatever. So hi Ty, hi Wheels.
Hello. What the fuck? And what the fuck chaos did you wind up in this time?
Please tell the class.
Wait, what?
Please tell the class of your adventures.
Well, because of last week's shenanigans, where at work, and I was just so exhausted, I needed a distraction, so I went to Build-A-Bear. And I bought a Jolteon there, and then I posted pictures. Yeah, I just killed the audio. I don't care at this point.
For those listening, by the way, he was actually talking about a bear, and he's not talking about a big burly. He's not talking about a big burly one of those things. He's actually talking about a bear.
Yeah. All right. Where's this picture? Yeah, here. Let me save the image so I can. You know what? Let's save this image so I can bring this up. All right, and then a close. That's from when I was on the car on the way home. Let me bring that up. Yeah, I got this. Hold on. Let me add. No, wait. No, I don't want to add a scene. Just want to add. Cancel. Add source image. I Adelie one or Adelie. Okay, browse. There we go. It just popped up on OBS really freaking huge because the resolution of the image is much bigger. I bought this because I was so tired at work. I'm like, I needed something cute to hug. I don't care. I'm a 40-year-old man. I bust my ass at my job, and I pay my bills and all sorts of shit. I just want something to hug. So I went to Build a Bear and bought her. And then when I posted pictures, Wheels immediately responds with, where's the post? Where's the post? Fuck. Wait. When did Build a Bear do Pokemon?
Sorry, but I never seen one at the kiosk one in Sun Valley Mall, so
Yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't
We went into
know.
discussion and found out that
Why
the
are
only
you
one at her
apologizing?
mall, the Build a Bear at her local mall is only a kiosk, which that's bullshit. There should be no. She should have a good. Or I'm like It should be a full on store. You need to go in the actual store. Which
I never. I knew there was. You might miss the thing where I said there was one in Walnut Creek Broadway Plaza, but apparently that one had shut down. And the nearest one to me that's a full store is at Solano City Center.
as I point, no, I responded to that. Maybe you should see the full store. Now it's closest to me. It's Solano City Town Center, and I responded with, I recommend you go. just be prepared to spend like good $40-$50 though.
So I did two images so far. Just look at AI insanity.
I'm going with the second one. That's going up. That's in high quality. I am updating that picture right now. That is fucking great. You know what? Like, here's it. Image. Well, let me. I'm just putting that on now. That is great.
I get you like the less accurate colors.
No, I'm talking to the right one. This is great.
The right one is the less accurate colors. The one on the left is the more accurate colors.
Well, I like the one on the right though. Just because that face,
My
man. I'm just zooming in onto that face.
Warrior background and everything.
This is AI upscale from that low quality screenshot from there, and I'm like, that is great. That is perfect. That's basically my face at work. Let's get
Poor
into
Mario.
the dirt.
This
Dear God, I needed that. I'm like, the first one's more accurate to the colors, but the second one with the actual face look on Mario is more accurate to the actual screenshot, where he's like, I'm just fucking done with this shit. And Pauline in the first one, I'm not showing that one, but the Pauline in the first one looks more like a Barbie doll.
is
You know what? This is going to be the wallpaper for the rest of the episode. I'm just leaving that up for the rest of the episode. That is great. That is great. But I have to make sure I'm prepping. I'm prepping the order right now. Let me put back up idly on top. Oh, now I gotta move her. I need the Mario image on screen, but I went to the or like I do. We're done with the Build-A-Bear. That was my main thing. We also went to BC Osaka's that day. because holy crap, I ended up spending like 90 or something, or close to $100 that day, because we also went to Cooper's Hawk, and I got some good wine there. And speaking of which, I picked up another bottle today, which I'm gonna go grab. You guys fill in the air while I go grab my alcohol.
Boy, so last Wednesday was my birthday. I went out. My unfortunately, we were supposed to see my grandnephew a couple of days ago, but unfortunately, his aunt couldn't make it. Sorry, my niece couldn't make it. So I got kidnapped him on Thursday. Uh, what else happened to me this week?
Okay, I have the
Uh,
bottle. I have the bottle. Spritzy Sangria Summer Berry. This is their local, or their month this month's wine, that they do a special wine per month, which I found out my favorite, which was their cranberry wine, is only available during the autumn, around around uh, uh around Thanksgiving. But pour a glass and let the good times flow. Poolside, light and fresh, summer berry spritz sangria bursts with ripe, juicy notes of blueberry, blackberry, and raspberry. Pair with waterfront chats, backyard barbecues, or any sun-soaked excuse to celebrate. Well, it is summer. And it's time for my little drunkie. This bottle
I'm a
cost me
little
like 20
drunk.
bucks. My little drunkie, my little drunkie. Though I am pouring in an actual wine glass.
Did you ever think about getting that My Little Pony popcorn bucket that I showed you a picture of?
Nah, I thought about it. I was like, yeah, no, I got enough shit as it is here.
I mean, it would go great with the sippy cup.
So, a little big fun bit of sports news. So, the Knicks won the NBA Finals after 52 years. They had a parade, and the sanitation department put out like blue and orange trash cans. And so I don't know what to call her. Picked up the trash can, dumped all the trash out, and carried it away. And she just lost her 6-figure job when it got posted on everything on the world. Got hit with a fine, had to get the trash can back, and to top it all off, they gave away the trash cans anyway.
Oh!
Oh, and
Oh,
and she
finally,
was
Goku's
also a
here.
DEI hire. And hi, Goku.
Hello.
Well, before we go
Yeah,
into Goku stories, we do have something we got to talk about. We got something we got to talk about because this happened today when me and him were out. Did I interrupt you, Reese? I'm sorry.
I was going to say the New York fans, they celebrated by destroying their town.
Yep.
Well, I know Carolina fans was all calm and cool when they won the Stanley Cup, so.
But yeah, when we were out and about today. We went to the China buffet because Goku helped me do yard work. I was cutting grass. He just hauled debris over out the back, and my payment was I'm buying him Chinese. But we stopped at Disc Replay on the way back, and apparently this was the last day that they're doing a Sonic the Hedgehog quiz. Where you go in and you answer a bunch of questions to test your knowledge on Sonic the Hedgehog, and this proved to be my deeps of the. I reached deep into my autism for this shit because of some of the
What did
questions
you
they
in for
asked.
being the slow?
Goku saw it when I noticed some of the questions. Like, wait a minute, wait a minute, because some of the questions were like, wait. These are trick questions. What are they looking for? What do they want as the actual answer? First question that was a trick question for me. That I was like, wait a second. And I had to actually get a clerk, and I'm like, okay, what is this question actually asking? Because there's two separate answers here. The first one, and I quote, what is the first video game appearance of Sonic the Hedgehog? for those of you who know, Sonic, the first Genesis game was not was not his first appearance in a video game.
Yeah,
The
it's
name of
like,
the racing game where he was a decal.
Yeah, he was a. I'm pretty sure the correct answer that they have listed was Rad Mobile, because that was in
oh,
arcades, and he's just a little keychain dangling from the rearview mirror. But I pointed this out, and I'm like, the other answer to this question, because it also predates Sonic the Sonic Genesis game, The Adventures of Quick and Silva, which was an Amiga PC game. And the only reason I know about
What?
that is because of Gulu Larry.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Mario's in
Never
that
heard of
game
that
too.
one. I feel like that doesn't count because that's just stealing characters.
Yeah, that's probably it. The second question that I thought was a trick question. I also pointed this out. Was what is the name of the arcade fighting game starring Sonic the Hedgehog?
oh boy.
Ooh, there's actually two. One during the era where Sega panicked that they thought they would lose the name of just calling him straight Sonic, so they called
No,
Sega
the
Sonic.
fight. No, the fighting game. There's only one.
Games.
It has
So it's fine.
the problem is, if you know as much as I do, and I pointed this out. Okay, what's this question asking? Because there's technically two answers depending on what you're going with. I'm pretty sure the answer is Sonic the Fighters here, because that's the Japanese name, as well as what was re-released in multiple games afterwards for, like, the say Sonic Gems collection on the PSN, as well as Xbox Live, that sort of shit. But the problem is,
And
when
also,
Sonic the Fighters came
and
out
also
here in
it's
arcades,
Unreal.
when Sonic the Fighters came out here in arcades, when it was released, it was rebranded in the States as Sonic Championship.
I never heard of that. I never heard of that name. Oh, by the way, in one of the I forget which use game, but you can play Sonic the Fighter in it. One of the emulated arcade games.
Yeah, no. Well, I'm talking about on the Sonic Gems collection, they didn't have complete. They didn't have the entire roster on it, because apparently Honey the Cat wasn't playable in that. But I have it on the PSN, which she is playable in that. But the third trick question: what is the first game, a Sonic game that was released that was on multiple consoles? This is what I had to actually caveat my answer to this, because I don't know what it was asking. On multiple consoles after Sega became a third-party developer.
Sonic
Or two.
Adventure 2
Or
Battle
no,
of...
that's the trick question. Is it referring to every single other console? Because that's what the question said. But, or is it just when it would just Sega was just a third party developer and it was the first time appearing on another console? Because I had to specify this in my answer. If you're referring to GameCube, it's Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. That was the first Sonic game on a console, or like a Sonic game on a console.
Oh wait,
other than
the PC
other than a
version.
Sega, yeah, other than official console. Other than when, and this is key because there were Sonic games in the Wonder Swan before, but this is after Sega stopped being a for first party developer. But but for every console, the answer to that question is Sonic Heroes, because that's the first one to go also be on the PS2 as well as the Xbox.
All right.
Because before then everything was on the GameCube. Sonic jumped to Nintendo.
I'm going to answer with this. Thanks for reminding me of Sonic Hero. I want to smack whoever didn't.
I want to play that again.
Smack the. Let me finish. Smack the old rental store that used to exist, Grounds and Conquer, called Rally Videos before they went under. They had a copy of Sonic Heroes where I think somebody scratched at some point because it kept crashing at literally the second level in Sonic Team.
I still have my copy. And and I know this shit because I'm like, this is the depths of my mind, because all the other questions I knew the answers to. Because I'm like, everyone else is like, I'm like, the only other trick question that threw me for a loop, I'm like, okay, who canonically killed Sonic the Hedgehog, or Sonic in Sonic the Hedgehog? The question is, okay, are you referring to the comics, or are you referring to a game? And then I realized no, they're since they specifically said Sonic the Hedgehog. Oh, they're talking about Sonic 06
Oh,
because he has
Sonic
died in
06.
the Archie comics multiple times.
I, well, by the Archie comics, he
But then again,
became.
so has Knuckles.
Yeah, well, he became a basically Sonic became a reality warper by that point. But Death Battle says the power of the Speed Force is so powerful that it that that Wally West can wipe out Sonic's own existence.
I'm like, because I don't know, I haven't read the entirety of the Archie comics because that's its own rabbit hole. I don't feel like diving down into. But I'm like, oh wait, oh you're referring to Sonic
when I
06?
get
Yeah,
to
Memphis the Dark's the one that was the answer to that question.
Yeah, I was the second. It would be funny if it was a trick. It was a trick question on the grounds of the April Fool's game, the murder of Sonic the Hedgehog.
Oh, that too. But no, they explicitly stated Sonic the Hedgehog when Sonic 06. Everyone calls it Sonic 06, but the official title of that game is Sonic the Hedgehog. It's just it's just released in 06. That's why they call it Sonic 06.
Just like people call the Ghostbusters reboot as the call. Except
Yeah,
for
they
from the actual
renamed
Ghostbusters.
Are you talking about?
Yeah,
You're
they
talking.
rename
Oh,
it.
wait. Are you referring to
He's talking about the full.
Are you talking about the spooky cunts?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, they later added the name Answer the Call so they could go, no, this is not a remake. This is not a remake. This is not a remake.
I refuse to call it anything with that movie anything other than spooky cunts. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Top Keck, for coming up with that because that was an old drop dead cynical bit. And I just associate that movie with that name ever since. I refuse to call it anything else other than spooky cunts.
And the director is still trying to defend this movie to this day.
Oh, but since you're here, Goku, you underwent training recently.
Yes.
Yeah, and Goku's also feeling the anguish, the law of 1,000 yard stare that Mario's showing in the current thumbnail.
Hey, look at the thumbnail, just look at the
Here,
AI insanity.
yeah, I'll DM him the picture so he has an idea.
Short
Yeah,
very short. Before we got here, we were watching the old Donkey Kong cartoon from the early '80s,
yeah, I'll send you the
and
original
we saw
screenshot.
that image. And saw this image at the end of one of the episodes. I
Yeah,
just updates
AI,
to
and then Ty AI ups. I put it in AI to redo it. There's the original image. I was using that picture of Mario up there. It's just that look on his face is like, I'm just done with this shit.
Yep.
But yeah, it's fucking perfect. But that's basically just says how I'm like. So give us the background what you were training for.
Okay, so I will start by saying that the reason I'll say this and then I'll go more in depth. The reason I resigned was part of my nerves. I kind of went in this on a blank, mainly because my friend was in it, and I was like, okay, let me see if I can get in this. It wasn't really fully a choice of okay, I want to do this. It was more the fact of let's give this a go, and oh, go we went through. But I wanted to be a CO at a correctional officer. Funny thing about where I live at, it's nothing but shit over here.
Yeah,
So,
sorry, I just DM'd him. I just DM'd him a
yeah.
message.
So, that being said, it was a very interesting experience about I want to say almost 3 weeks, but I left after the third out of 4 weeks of just training and not OGT. Think of this as more like the academy part of it. So that being said, um there was a lot of things wrong about this. One of the first main factors is that at this place was I was trained to be a CO, so if any for people who don't know what that is a correctional officer. And I'm not gonna say the place or where it was, but it was
It's
shitty. It
bad.
was
I've seen.
it's
He
bad.
showed me some pictures. It's bad.
It's bad.
It
But
was a
You, yeah,
card, for layman's terms.
mhm.
yeah. Well, what from what Super showed me, it shattered my perception that you would automatically start at minimum and rise up through the different types of prison instead of what sounds like you just got tossed into like a low high or high medium
The
level
analogy
security.
Goku, because
Oh
you
no.
weren't in the conversation, because you weren't here yet. The When I was just giving them the vague ideas, the analogy I went with. You don't know how. It's as if you didn't know how to swim, and we just chucked you into the deep end of a pool, and just
Yeah.
said, "Have
Okay.
fun."
Let me say more about this. So this particular prison is technically a medium level, but it's also a low and a small bit, but a decent amount of major or maximum. So like there's only one
So Max
section.
is
It's maximum
all
two.
in one. Oh, so it's still tossing you at the deep end by throwing you all of it at once. Jesus.
To be fair, maximum, which you would not go unless you've been there 6 months, but you don't have to even be there 6 months to deal with the amount of BS that they were just telling you during training. Oh, kitty. But anyway, all right. Anyway, what happened was, so one of the main things that you will learn about the good old state that I live in is that anywhere you go, management will just say, well, anywhere in the world, a lot of times management will give you the big old middle finger. And that's and they will not communicate with you sometimes, and that's okay. It's just what management is. We all can understand that to an extent, but I have to keep in mind, not many people have to deal with that while dealing with up to almost 84 to 100 inmates having to be watch over them, and you being the only person, if you're not a maximum, to do that sometimes on your dorm or your floor level dorm. Because how the things work is maximum is the only one that's 23 and 7. For people who don't know what that means, it's basically 23 hours a day locked in a cell, that door stays shut. 1 hour a day is for rec time or for the do whatever you need to do. However, in our location, they only get rec once or twice a week, I think, or they can go out and do some other things. So it's really they're in their cell most of the day. However, for maximum, and this is mainly maximum, minimum people, they ain't really trying to do anything because they want to get out. It's like less than a year or two for them. But maximum, there are type of dorm level rooms. So it's like how people would think of it. It's one long hallway with just dorms lined up, but there are no doors for them dorms, and they're free to go in and out of the dorms into like the day room or wherever they need to be. And and they were so understaffed that it's usually only going to be one person per dorm. So think of it
Oh
like
boy.
80 people per floor of the dorms, and you only have one guard. You have your lieutenant at the very bottom or the ground floor, and then
Unverf.
there's 3 other floors. Yeah,
Jesus. Depending on the type of crimes that these people did, high crimes these people did, you might be fucked.
yeah. So, but here's an interesting thing. They are so understaffed that my friend who's worked there for 2.5 years, and he's just gotten used to it to the point, so he stays there more just because he's fine with it. But he said there's been occasions where there's been so understaffed that you could possibly be in charge of 2 to 3 dorms sometime. And keep in mind, people, as a CEO, you have to do constant rounds. So like counts or different things. You have to do this every 30 minutes in a room. Oh, and here's another thing too. There's no AC. That place is
Ooh.
dilapidated. And
Oh dear lord, how old is it that they didn't that it doesn't have that?
yeah, they're building like a new one. I'm not gonna say too much on that, but they're building a new one. But until then, you're just gonna have to deal what you deal with it, and the piping isn't that great, so nobody trusts the water there. So if you don't have bottled water, you're kind of screwed over until you get some. So it's just is not the best means of things of how things go on. So remember, you're understaffed. One time, I don't know how true or false this is. He said sometimes you have to be in charge of the whole dorm with, but you do have your sergeant or the person who's like above you there too. But it could just be the two of you taking care of all four dorms and making sure that um everybody is accounted for, no one escapes. And then you got to keep in mind, some people have in the daytime, some people have to go for Chalpo, rec. You got to constantly make sure you know who's going in and out of the dorms, make sure everybody who's there stays there, while also making sure there's nothing bad going on throughout the
Oh
dorm.
dear, this with the fact of being understaffed, this sounds like a nightmare to keep everything tracked in one head.
And that leads me to the main thing of why I decided to leave. And that is because this place also has a major trafficking issue for years. And they just now are trying to be more strict on the policies because of the new facility they're making. But then, the inmates aren't going to like that. And they sure as hell aren't going to like that the newer staff are being told that they have to be stricter with the policies because a lot of time.
Knowing what I've heard of some stories about trying to get stuff in there, I bet you'd be uncomfortable reaching into these criminals' ass.
We don't do that. That would be only medical. But that does lead me to a point, but I'll get back on that in a second.
As
Anyway,
long as I have a joke, I have an inappropriate joke for that.
what?
Goku knows exactly where I'm going with this because fucking JD Delay talked about this
Oh
on our
yeah, yeah.
show. About the story where he was trying to smuggle in stuff and he had to use
Yeah.
a 6 week old expired mayonnaise that was turning green as lube.
Okay. But we're gonna get back on that for a second because I want to bring today what I believe. Well, we can title this whatever we want to, but there was this
Yeah,
one
you
story
told me
that
something specifically. That's why did you
yeah,
wanted it titled as DM it. That's
it
why I
was
asked. Type it out and DM it to me because that's going to be the title of the
okay.
episode. Because what you came up with was good.
Uh, I think I forgot what it was, but basically, what I was saying was we were doing our tour around the facility. So it was like there used to be um different things going on before it started closing down, or they just started, stopped with some of the buildings. But there were different things. I'm not gonna say any of them because it could give out what it was, but they were based on like the educational department, the workers department, or what used to be the workers department. So anyway, we went to where you would be considered maximum or on the lock and key 24/7, and there was this one
That's
guy.
more. That's more
Huh?
the general concept of solitary confinement.
Oh yeah, but they call it something different. But yeah, it was solitary basically or maximum. So these are like the you ain't never getting out type of people. So I want to tell you all something. You would all assume that somebody with 23/7 in a cell would not be able to have any like sort of anything unless they were given to it. So like other than food, maybe some clothing, they wouldn't have anything else, right?
Yeah.
Okay. This would lead to what I feel like this title should be called. We were passing by and a guy was being um shipped off on the helicopter or was going to be taken to the helicopter to go down someplace because this man had 12 batteries, two shanks, and a cell phone in his stomach.
Wait, what?
Like like I said, they would do that type of stuff to try and get stuff inside.
Yeah, but no, here's the thing. He's 23/7. This our place has a major trafficking issue even before then because they were so lax on the rules. But how does somebody in maximum get that much stuff in their stomach?
But the 1 hour a day they're allowed
It,
to leave to get some fresh air.
I visitor time is wild shit, and sometimes they don't pay attention there.
They're not allowed any visitors
They're
with
no
contact.
visitors in that.
They don't get
Some
any.
security.
He must have done that before he was sent to prison. and they didn't notice until now.
But that's the thing. You are right about that because some people in maximum and that maximum are originally from um medium or like in
Gen
the
Pop.
middle one. Gen Pop, yeah, and then they go over there instead of having two separate ones of people you send who's from Gen Pop and some people you immediately take from to maximum. They just put them all together in the different dorms. So I think that's what happened. But I still just want to. I just still was like, how do you get that much stuff in your stomach, and why do you have that much stuff in your stomach?
Desperate times call for wacky measures.
But that was interesting. But anyway, as I was saying, so this prison used to it's the trafficking issue is the one of the biggest problems, and a lot of the times it's not because of the inmates, it's because of the guards. Because I kid you not, one of the lessons that we had was don't fuck an inmate and don't traffic to an inmate.
Don't
Apparently, they had a
fucking
lot of people doing that.
don't
Hmm.
fucking inmates.
I
I,
kid you
I,
not.
assume, I assume you work in a male prison.
Yes.
Oh boy.
Why that a lot of the guards they are hired are gay.
I don't know because
Yeah.
we have female inmates. I mean, we have female guards too. But they say a lot of the times that rule doesn't apply to the female and I mean female guards over the male guards. I'm like, interesting. Now, I want to point out the people that being a C. Before I go any further with the story, being a CO, it can be for some people. Even in this place, I've been seeing, and I even know, as I say, my friend who has nerves, who has the right set of mind for this. I was not one of these people because one, my nerves was not as great for it, but also I was not going to deal with all that BS on top of that. So I said, you know what? I tried, or well, I gave it a shot. I'm not gonna say for OJT because I already know how this is gonna turn out. So let's not waste anybody's time and let's just part ways. Cause we're gonna go to the next favorite part. We're gonna play Know the Schedule. So there are for a CO, the normal schedule is usually a 12-hour shift, just like a police. Is changes from state to state probably. It's usually 8 hours sometimes, 10 hours someplace, but we have 12 hours. So from 6 o'clock in the morning to 6 o'clock at night, you're expected to do your job there. Do you all think if you come into the building at 5:30 that you're on time? No, you are not. Because the greatest thing about this is you have to get a good old protection plates, and you also got to get your good old body cam that they started enforcing. And doing this, you would think they would give them in the same line. Nope, they make you go to two separate lines, and everybody's coming in for their shift has to wait in that line, get both of their items, go to the shift captain, say I'm here. Then they have to go over the roll call before 5:45, or else they're late. And keep in mind, you have to do this every single day on your shift, and the schedule goes by. Let's say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I mean Monday, Tuesday you come. Wednesday, Thursday you on break. I mean like you don't come that day. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then it switches. The days you worked that week are the days you have off the next week, and the days you didn't work that week is the days you work next week. So it's like an on and off schedule. But there are some days you have 3 days in a row. So where I live, I'm gonna say, let's say I live a good 45 minutes away, and this is being with a little traffic, which means if I wanted to be there at that time, I would have to get up around 3 something, get ready, leave at 4, and with no traffic, so no snow, no hailing or nothing, I probably get there at 5 and be able to get and ready at 5:45. Now here's the fun part. We are so understaffed that a lot of the newbies will get something that they call like stop. They can stop you at the gate and make you work additional hours, up to 4 more, if they want to, if they're short staffed, which they said they will be doing a lot to our class and the newer people, because other people will just do extra days while we would just have to probably do that anyway for our first few months. And I was like, okay, so with that happening, you're staying till 10. Now remember, you have to make the drive home, which means you may not be getting home to 11. And you have work the next day. You're expected to be back there at 5:45. So you all do the math and see how much you all would get to sleep.
I'll be crashing out like certain times, just Tom Gross. You'll be feeling like a tired bitch like Tom Grossi did at certain points of 30.
But anyway, keep in mind that you still have to follow all your policies. You cannot sleep you cannot sleep on the job and do everything right. And if you mess up anywhere, even like if you do your paperwork wrong, you could be disciplined for that. And this is on if you only have like 4 or 5 hours. I'm being nice here and saying you live close by, you only get 4 or 5 hours of sleep. Otherwise, it sucks to be you, because here's the fun part. My friend said there are people who will just not come in some days. They don't have any time to burn, so no sick days, no vacation days, and they will come in and they will just, I mean, they will not come in and they just still have a job. They just say, okay, you'll come in when you come in. So if you go by that standards, the people who somehow do what they have to do in order to come on their days, just fuck them, right? It makes no sense.
Forgot to update that.
Yeah, but
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 no,
anyway,
or like, yeah, you
I,
explained that to me, and I'm like, most
I
jobs they
bet
would not
some.
tolerate that, but at the same time, considering the insane amount of hours here, and it flies in the face of the actual laws here, where it says you have to allow at least or in between shifts, especially when they're this long, at least 12 hours in between, just so people can sleep, so they don't fucking die.
yeah, but you got to remember, this is a 24-hour thing. It's nonstop, so laws are a
Yeah.
little different for us.
Yeah. Also, I'm pretty sure that the people who do. Oh no, I get it, but describing that, it makes more sense when they just don't show up. I'm like, no, if I come in, I'm either gonna die of sleep deprivation, or I'm gonna have a psychotic episode and I start hallucinating shit.
Oh
Because
no.
that
Yes.
also that could be mentally draining on someone's sanity.
I did you want to say something, Wilga? Or
Was betting that if it gets desperate enough, some of them by bet wouldn't go home for days and just sleep in their car.
yeah, that's what some people do, and I'm like, yeah, that was another reason. It's like a whole bunch of things. My nerves were already on edge. Then you had all this shit. I was like, no, I'm not doing this. That's what I'm saying. I'm not trying to talk down the job. It for some people who want this, mainly like people from military backgrounds and other stuff, it could be a promising career. Would I ever do it even if I do somehow get into the military and do that? Hell no. But it's for some people. But anyway, here's another title I could think for this video. It's called "I'm Not Touching That Phone." Now,
Yes.
let me explain
Okay.
why. Let me explain why.
That's
So,
short. That's shorter. We'll go with that.
so we
I'm
had
gonna
two
write that
Putting
down.
that phone.
we had two tours. The first tour is when this incident happened. So we are going into Maximum again, and I'm not gonna say the name of this offender, but let's call him shit, let's call him Jumpy. Okay, so this was during rec. This was during the day that they had rec, so there was a few of them. And you know how, knowing now, they were probably banging on the sub just to scare us a little bit, and I admit it did work on me a little bit. But Jumpy was over in the rec room, so you all know how the windows have those little things out that you can grab on and kind of go on to, kind of climb them a little bit for the few things that you can go up to. Well, I forgot that they go on both sides, so Jumpy started climbing on these things and went to the top. And let's say he was just doing some some interesting dance moves to everybody around, mainly probably for the girls, but he was doing that on the top part of the bar. I was like, So we get away and we're going back to the entrance. This guy comes out and he holds a phone up with his bare hands and says, "You all see this?" It was a small phone too. It was like smaller than a flip phone, It was one of those little smartphones. He said these are the type of things that they will smuggle or that they will get trafficked in here. And I kid you not, the next sentence he said is, "We just got this out of somebody's ass."
Oh God.
Keep
Well,
in
that's how
mind,
they smuggle it in.
no, but here's the
That's why
thing.
I said I've seen plenty of stories of people smuggling stuff up there, of eating it or stuffing up their own ass to smuggle stuff in. Well, the stories that I found are more the weirder
Mm.
stuff that people have attempted to do that with.
By the way, I'm just showing the camera. I'm not showing it on the actual screen. But Goku, you forgot yours of these.
Yeah, I know. But anyway, guys, I want to keep in mind that it may have been forgotten. He was not wearing any gloves, and he said that it just came out of somebody's ass. And like literally, he just said they just took it out or they just got it from the medical room. So it was not sanitized or nothing because there was a brown spot on it.
Oh God.
I wonder how they. I gotta. I'm betting it's mostly. I reached up your own ass. As no lube required. Have fun with that fact, dude. Well,
Yeah,
you're the one.
it was crazy. But anyway, the next question was the most wildest one. He's like, "Any of you want to see it?" No, no,
Wait, what was the item
Let's see
anyway
the
that was
butt
up the ass?
phone.
no. It was a phone. It was like a a flip phone, right?
Yeah, of
Oh,
course.
It's it
okay.
was yeah. It was smaller than that, and it somehow had a tiny, and I mean tiny keypad. It was like a tiny keypad, a tiny phone. I've never seen a phone that tiny
It's a burner.
before.
It most likely was a cheap ass burner phone.
Yeah, but it was one of them smaller phones, and even though it's flip phones, I was like, "What- bro, what are we doing
Just
here?"
gonna put in the description. Who wants to all see the butt phone?
Yeah. Okay. Here was another thing too. They gave us a whole training on like how to fight against sexual harassment and everything. But then here's the thing. Every time you walk in everything, and especially since we did have a good amount of females who was joining the training program too, since it's like a whole bunch of us, they were all walking to a building and you just the type of stuff they were saying to mainly these females, but I'm not gonna even repeat it, but I'm gonna say they were vulgar as hell. And when they were trying to complain to the staff, like, how do we stop this? They were just like, "Well, if you can pick out who did it, then maybe we could do something. Otherwise, you're just gonna have to put up with it." And like I understand to an extent about that, yeah. But then when they find out, or they can figure out who one or two people are, they're like, "Oh, we really can't do much because that could be considered retaliation." And what was the point of telling them to point them or say who it is if it's just gonna be retaliation if you do something?
I don't. I just don't. I'm like, I'm like, what do you do in that situation? I'm like, we literally don't have a choice.
And so anyway, here's another reason how backwards this training was. So in training, you all would think that you would do week 1, week 2, week 3, and week 4, right?
Yeah.
Well, our
To,
group
to,
got in there.
to ease you into the chaos, so
Yeah,
you get used
easy.
to it.
Our group did week 3, week 4, and then they have us going back and doing week 1 and week 2 because we came in the middle of the beginning of week 3 of another group. So they just said, you know what? We're just going to continue teaching, and half of the stuff that we're saying, you're not going to know what it means, but just go along and figure it out. And then we'll come back in week 1 and week 2, and you'll be like, okay, so you'll know what
Oh,
some of the
another
stuff is.
example of fuck it. Good luck, asshole.
Yeah.
Like, good luck, dumb fuck.
Oh, I don't think I told you. I don't think I even told Strider or anybody about this. So let me tell you the beauty of saving an inmate's life. So
Wait, what?
there
Oh boy.
there's a few things that they taught us. So the first let's say inmate is playing tug of rope with the ceiling and losing.
Well, that's a nice way to put it. It is. I've heard it. I've heard it described as it is because we can't say the actual word on
Yeah.
YouTube because of it. But I've heard that, or I've heard some colorful descriptions for it. Like, we're not on Rumble. I'm just not. I'll type it. I'll just type it to you. But let's just say that it's inappropriate, really dark jokes. Reese probably knows the one that we used to hear back when Drop Dead Cynical was still a show. But yeah,
Anyway,
yeah. I'm not repeating it. It's dark.
right, give me 1 second. Anyway, so let's say that happens. Your normal instinct would be to run in and try to save him, especially if he's still losing and not just having already lost. But policy states you have to call someone, and only when they arrive can you go in and stop him from losing.
I can see why because Solo
But
Man,
you have to
actually
intervene.
revive him.
You have to do the right thing. I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
but
no.
I'm saying,
But at the same time,
saying-
being ordered by the state, it's probably their reaction of if it's a maximum security prison, especially if it's death row. And I'm like, no, you don't get to kill you. You don't get to kill you. You don't get to do that. Only we get to do it.
No. You guys
what
aren't.
I was,
You guys aren't understanding.
no, I wasn't finished. I was saying I can see why because they don't want you to revive him, and then nobody backing you up. If the guy turns out to want to smack your head.
You are right, Will Girl. It is if they're trying, because some people have tried to fake that they're losing. I don't know how, but it has happened. Or they don't. They just want to make sure that you stay safe when you go in there. That's good. But if you see him that he's still like he's actually losing, you're not allowed to go in. According to what they're saying in their policy, you're not allowed to go in there and save him, no matter what.
Oh, I
until somebody else is
misunderstood
there.
that. I misunderstood that. I thought they just said you had to intervene and do the right thing. I'm like, no, you're correct. You're clarifying that. I'm like, oh, that makes it go a completely different direction. I'm like, that got way
Because
darker than I thought.
you can go in there and help him, but you can get disciplined for it. Especially
Oh.
if you end up getting attacked either by him or somebody else, you will not be covered by them. Yeah, which but
That's messed up.
it leads me to something else, and because I don't know why they gave this scenario, but I guess something happened. Let's say that you walk past okay, so this was during CPR training, and let's say you walk by a cell and you see a scarecrow, but it's missing his head on the floor. By their policies, no scarecrow is allowed to go permanent night, or you are not allowed to declare that scarecrow taking the forever nap because you are not a medical professional. So you must perform CPR on that scarecrow until medical arrives.
Wait.
You can't take all the signs that he's
I
dead
did.
as signs that he's dead until medical
That
officially says
that
so.
that just short circuited my brain. They expect you to perform CPR on a guy who literally had his head removed.
Yes.
Uh,
You don't
I-
have to do the breathing part, but you do have to do the chest compression.
so,
I'm like,
so
what the fuck is that
that's the dumbest
gonna do?
sentence.
The brain is detached from the body.
That's the dumbest thing. Do CPR on a headless man. But him being the fact he's headless means he's already dead, dumbass.
so
I'm like,
quick
dude, I'm like,
CPR.
I just I just don't.
I never.
I just don't. I'm like,
That's the
I'm
dumbest
changing.
thing
I'm
to
changing my
ever-
Discord. I'm changing my Discord thing now to do CPR on a headless man.
That is the
Ugh.
stupidest thing I heard. We would do CPR, no matter what. Wipe his head or headless, and that proves he's dead. Still do it. Why?
It's just
Because we
do
said
it.
so.
I'm like,
No.
uh, I'm like, the problem is that's the head is already removed.
Now here's the thing.
You're not coming back from that.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. There's two reasons.
I'm not
One,
a medical
for many
professional. I'm pretty sure that's fatal.
I'm not completely medical, but from what they're saying, if somebody's like heart is stopped, I'm not medical, so don't 100% on me. From what they said, what you're doing is keeping that alive when you're doing
Yeah,
the
I
chest
know what
compressions. Because
CPR actually does.
yeah,
It,
the electric.
your heart is
Yeah,
stopped. It's
I'm
still
not saying
it's forcing the
CPR is
blood
not
to move.
a good thing, but if you have something that obviously would kill you no matter what,
I'm
why?
like, but
Why
yeah,
are they asking you to
we're just stuck
continue?
on the fact that you need to perform CPR on something that there is no coming back from. The head is
If you
severed.
don't, you could lose your job. You wanna know why? You're not a medical professional, so you can't declare somebody dead.
Yeah,
I
it's called common sense.
I just
I think they should make a rule that says
I'm like,
if
the guy's
that
head is
expected to
gone.
be, it's really really obvious the guy's dead.
They're like, no, it's not like where it's not like when someone accidentally takes or tries to take themselves out with a shotgun blast and it misses and it just destroys part of the brain, but the rest of it's still intact, making bodily autonomy still functional because that is technically survivable. No, if the guy's head is just off the body and is somewhere across the room, what's the point? What's the
I'm
actual
picturing
point?
I'm picturing just closer right now, and AI insanity.
Oh god.
Okay, but anyway, going back to what I was saying. Yeah, you have like in that case, that was something that they said from what I got out of that they said because I asked that question when they were
Like,
telling us
no,
about
I
that,
would
and they
just be
said technically
staring in
speaking, yes.
abject horror. I would just be staring in abject horror, and I'm like, and then you just be confoundment. I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. What?
I would be more concerned.
No.
No, at that moment, I'd be more concerned about the person right there that took the person's head off than trying
Yes.
to keep a body alive.
Thank you, Ty. Thank you, thank you, Will Go. Because I was thinking that, because I told them, look, if I have to do that, like I understand, I don't know why, but I understand. But my two questions would be: one, who the hell did this to you? And two, what did you do to make somebody so mad? Besides maybe what your charges are, that they decided to do this to you. Like, who does that?
There's two possibilities. One is a gang fight, or the person in question you guys head chopped up was a child pedophile because nobody loves that, not even other criminals.
Oh,
Yeah,
that leads me
no.
to another situation.
Oh no, oh no! If you get sent to jail for being a child rapist, let's just say prison justice.
If you're in there
does
for a
its job.
chomo, you're not. If you're a chomo, you're not gonna have a good time.
Okay.
JD
Here's
DeLay
the
specifically has stories where he would just, when he was in prison, he would just torture chomos into getting them to do stuff like that.
Yeah. Here's a contradiction. Also, another lesson that we had. So, they want you to be firm, fair, and consistent. This is a CO model that they go to a lot of different prisons. So I can say this: be firm, fair, consistent. You want to be that with every person, even the chomos. It's gonna be hard, but that's
or
what
like,
you are.
yeah, I get it. If you treat them like the presidents, I'm like, this is one thing I agree with JD DeLee with most prisoners. They're just on their worst days and stuff like that. If you treat them like human, it actually helps with the rehabilitation, where they would eventually, when they get out, or like you want them to actually be rehabilitated. Teach them so they learn skills and stuff like that, so that when they're eventually released, they can actually be productive members of society. That's something I actually agree with. That's the purpose of what prisons are supposed to be.
Yes, rehabilitation. I agree with that too. And here's the thing. So that goes on to what they say next. You should know your population. You should know, like, don't get too friendly with them, but you should know, like, not personally, on a personal level, but what up, what up, inmate, what up, get to know your population, get to know what you want, how your population is. But you still got to be firm, fair, consistent. Even with the chomos, you got to treat everyone the same. That's what
Yeah.
they want us to say, right? And they say know your population, so know who your people are. Then they're gonna turn around and say you should know who they are, but never look up their charges and never look up what they do, or like never look up anything like that because you don't want to treat any of them different. And I can understand that to an extent, but let's add in one more thing. A lot of our prisoners are either drug addicts or mentally ill, and you are not supposed to look up that information. So if any of them ever somehow comes back to the trafficking issue, if they ever get a hold of drugs, you could just be standing one day doing your rounds, turn around, and you have a 6'3" naked man holding a shank.
I'm like, and then they expect you not to react with or not to know if they actually have any mental conditions. I'm like, that makes no sense to me. If anything, if they actually have something that's actually diagnosed, get. I'm like, this is the human in me going like, no, they get them the help they actually need.
You would think, but according to our state, no more money is going into that facility until they move into the new building. So whatever they get from month to month basis, that's all they get.
Yeah, and like with the drug addict and stuff like that, get them in the rehab or get them actually in the rehab stuff. I'm like, this is coming from me. I have one of my sisters. I haven't really talked to her in years because she was a heroin addict, and I've lost family members to that. That's why I don't touch drugs at all because I've seen what happens. I've lost family members, and when she was going into going into prison, she did it multiple times. And at that point, I just had to stop talking to her because all she cared about was herself and just getting her fix. And I'm like, no, I'm just gonna walk in the room after you've had a bad night when you just relapse, and then I just find you dead on the floor because I've lost family members to this.
Yeah. But
In my case, so lots of people know the server that what a couple years ago I had to have surgery, and after surgery, when they sent me home, they prescribed me with hospital prescribed narcotics. So I go back to change the band-aid from the surgery. I'll swallow those pills so that I don't feel the pain as much. And my brain was, and I was just gone when the narcotics kicked in. And then sent a wheelchair to take me to the areas and change the band-aid. Wheelchair to get me out. Obviously, couldn't drive for obvious reasons. And my sister had some work problems herself before she got cleaned up. And I myself like, how do you do this? Because I cannot stand this. Every time I have to take those pills, I feel like I'm gone for the entire day. And she was
I'm
like,
like,
I don't know. Sometimes we at a time I guess I want to be
it's like when the one time I made the mistake. I was given a half of Vicodin for an for an earache for an ear infection by my grandfather, Grandpa Ralph, when he passed before he passed away. But he's like, because I had an ear infection, and he's like, this will make you not feel it. He gave me half of one. Apparently, Vicodin's supposed to knock you out. I had the complete and other opposite reaction to it, where all of a sudden my heart rate's elevated. I'm freaking I'm anxious. I'm like I'm just wigging and stuff like that. I'm like, what the fuck's happening? Why am I feeling this? And like, it making me stuff like that. I'm like, that's that one time was and only because and he didn't even he just said this will just make you feel better. He didn't tell me what it was until after I took it. And I'm like, after that reaction, I'm like, no. And the one time I went to a doctor and doctor prescribed me a Vicodin for like a sinus infection or something like that, or something that like I was in a lot of pain. And I go to the pharmacy and we need to pull you aside because we're giving you this. And I immediately said, "Wait, you're giving me what? You giving me that? No, 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 no. I'm not getting that. Dude, take that off the list. I am not taking that. Just give me fucking ibuprofen."
Hmm.
I refuse to
That
try.
reminded me of
I will
something else.
not take that.
So, that reminded me of something that I that came in the back of my mind. It actually reminds me of another one of like two more stories that I have to share. So we have this guy whose his name is Scooter. Scooter, from what I heard, I don't think he doesn't have any legs, and I don't know if his arm like he doesn't have a lot of limbs. So Scooter Scooter is like in a wheelchair. I think they called him Scooter. I don't know what they called him. They called him something like that. They called him Scooter. So one day, Scooter just completely flips the hell out. And this was an inmate, and I wasn't there for this, but this is a story that they told us around. So I'm assuming it happened. Scooter somehow poured let's go with apple juice on his entire body.
Oh no.
And
You
then
say apple juice, but knowing what it's actually colored, how it's colored, did he dunk himself in piss?
and then not that. It's something where Scooter um dumped himself apple juice, and then Scooter took a nice wooden stick and flipped it against a box. And then Scooter got himself a new name that day. And a nice trip airlift to the hospital. I
Okay,
don't know how Scooter did all that, but that are you getting what he did, Strider?
I'm getting what?
Are you getting what this metaphor is? I'm trying to, I'm not trying to go to demonetization into this or anything like that.
I really don't care. This channel ain't monetized.
We're not monetized.
Oh,
I don't
Scooter
get
set
enough
himself on
views.
fire.
Oh, oh, oh. So
Unfortunately, this is too. Let's just say to know what to get what you mean.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So
Scooter did that. Yeah.
he coated or like so he coated himself in gasoline and then tried to light himself.
Oh no, he didn't try. He did.
Oh,
He did. Yeah, I don't know how Scooter got the gasoline, the match, or any of that stuff, but he somehow did. And mind you, this is a man who's missing a few limbs. So I can't say I don't know how hard they can do stuff, but I would I on and Scooter's still there. That's the thing too. Scooter is still alive and he's there. We never got to meet Scooter, but he is somewhere in that facility. And I wished I was like, please God, I wish I had met Scooter even once before then. And and guess what? I did. On our second tour, we passed by a whole bunch of people, and there was this guy who who was in a wheelchair, and he was missing both his legs and one of his arms, and he was being pushed by somebody, and they said that's Scooter.
and he's now covered in scars too, because
Yes.
fire, the permanent damage after you've set your or after you burned yourself, you have permanent scars from that. I'm like, what the shit, man?
Scooter kind of scared me that day because you don't know you see different things, but the
You don't know
firefighter
the
shows
context
never
or
put into
the story
perspective. Yeah.
behind it until someone tells you, and you're like, what the
Firefighter shows
fuck?
will never do justice to burn victims until you've seen Scooter.
Like the time of the fire department. Why one of the food court stores was set on got caught on fire.
Mhm. And that leads, and I know this is gonna be completely opposite, yet, but that leads to the final story. It's meeting Jerry in the bathroom.
Oh no.
Oh god.
So This place, like I said, is really dilapidated. So even the bathrooms like have holes in it and everything. And so
Oh, okay.
you go down there.
Let me get a guess then. Since you said meeting Jerry in the bathroom and the bathroom has holes, you found a mouse or a rat.
Bullet
Yes,
hole.
that came
Look.
out from under the toilet.
Oh.
And I don't mean under the toilet like under it. I mean he was in the piping.
Well, if I was thinking a rat, I would think more like either for this layer, but either Master Splinter or for me, Freya Crescent.
Because apparently I had to look this up and you
These
can
are
look
the
this up too.
ranking.
Rats or mice can be inside the toilet pipe and go in and out of it. He came out of the toilet pipe.
Yeah, because they can squeeze.
Yeah, yeah. So I was gonna use that toilet.
Also, Goku, did you know that mice lay eggs?
No, I did not.
Now you know.
And no one's half shadow.
Mice can get inside there and lay eggs. God, I can't believe I had to do that callback, man. I
But
need to find that clip of Big Physiques just saying mice can get in there and lay eggs and just ruin your shit and stuff like that because it's one of the most
here's the
So,
insane things I've ever seen.
somewhere, somehow, the clip exists.
all right, here, listen.
Yeah, it's still
So
somewhere. It's still floating around somewhere. I think
it's fine.
if I can't find it, I'm pretty sure Reese has it. But yeah,
So on
Like I'm
Thursday,
pretty sure Riz has the entire list of the Donkey Kong episode we just watched.
yeah, on Thursday, that was my final day. This past Thursday, I said, you know what? I'm not doing this anymore. My nerves aren't right for this. This entire cluster fuck of an environment is not right for me. I'm not gonna deal with all
holy
this
shit! I
BS. I'm
found the
not gonna.
clip.
I'm not gonna do that. So, I was like, they and plus also that they were telling some people like, maybe this isn't for you, including me. They went to the back room and told me this, so they were kind of loud. So I don't know if other people heard that shit, but they were kind of a little disrespectful with it. But anyway, when I went up and leaped, lo and behold, about 5 or 6 other people were not too far behind, including this one dude. And I'm gonna just call him. This was the name I made up with him. I made up for him because this is what I just assumed. He was corn. He was the corn-fed Texan. This man had to be 6'3", 6'4", was built like a linebacker, was former military. He was what you would call the golden child or the golden student for this thing. And he said, I'm not putting up with this BS because he used to work CO2, but he worked back in the day of this what they he wanted to call like the skull crushing COs of where they didn't put up with no BS. If you were trying to start some shit, your ass was going to the ground if you were in handcuffs. He's like, I'm not doing. He's like, y'all want to baby this stuff and whatnot. If you all have not followed policies and yet you want to say, oh, follow policies, but you can't. You have to. So you have to coddle the inmates because we don't want to get them agitated. Doing these policies is already getting them agitated. What I don't understand, you're contradicting yourselves at every single point of these lessons. So him and a few other people left too. I left on my own accord because of the few reasons I gave. But it was nice to see that in a sense at the end, although for me it was a bit of both of different aspects, for them it could have been different. But yeah, that's how it ended. And the guy who was basically the main teacher was on vacation, so next week he's gonna learn that half of the class, or almost half the class, is no more.
All
Good
right,
job,
Um,
Teach.
I found the clip in question. I posted it in what? I'm about to show it on right now. This is the clip I was referencing.
This
Hit
right
okay.
here is the damage from the chair into the road.
I'm just not resuming
So
it.
literally, mice can actually like go underneath there and lay
This
eggs.
guy's
Very
just
dangerous too.
this
Yeah,
guy's
so,
just
you know, like,
looking through
literally,
his
like, a mouse can go
entire
in
holes
there
in his
and lay eggs. So
carpet.
the mouse lays eggs underneath there. Whew, it's over. It's infested.
You guys can watch it in what, but yeah, it was muted in OBS for me, so I'm gonna play it again, just the audio, so I can hear it.
Here is the damage from the chair into the road. So literally, mice can actually like
go inside in there and lay eggs. I'm like, this was I'm like, this is an old deep cut for our group of friends specifically. Goku, this was before you, but
Okay.
we can explain the context to this, but that is a rabbit hole that goes years and decades deep at this point. Suffice to say, it's a crazy man on drugs with a camera poking holes in or poking his finger in holes in his carpet.
You just reminded me of something. But finish what you were saying.
Poking holes in his carpet. This is just a crazy dude. The simple. That's just putting it lightly.
Strider, you just reminded me of something. It was one other thing. I think I told you. I either told you this or I was gonna start telling you this, but you said wait. So another thing that will happen occasionally is prisoners will take a nice big cup of their in their hands of their excrement and will throw it on people. And more importantly, you, the
Are we
COs.
monkeys?
The COs, yes, they will take this excrement.
I don't want to insinuate the racist comment because of or like a majority of or inmates are of specific races and stuff like that, like calling the black guys monkeys. But literally, if you're literally cupping your hands, shitting into your hands, and then just to chuck it at people, no, that makes you a monkey, because that's what monkeys do.
Here's the thing. So they will do that to COs, but here's the thing with the CO. You're not allowed to change your uniform until after they get pictures and documents of that.
Oh
and
God.
Then you either have to either given like 2 hours to go home and change and everything, or if they're short staffed, they'll either supply you with a temporary uniform, but if they don't have any, you have to keep that uniform on for the rest of your shift.
Oh God.
And so, many game in the balls while I was in mall security. to the point where I have to go to the back where I usually keep go to the back where the mall management is, go to the mall management bathroom with a coworker, and take down my pants to make sure they didn't penetrate skin. Because if they did penetrate skin, then they called the ambulance, which thankfully didn't.
Like, because you have to worry about bloodborne diseases and that sort of shit. And I'm like,
Exactly.
And I just realized I just said the word shit, and we're talking about actual fecal matter. And I'm like,
Yep.
because it's just our vernacular at this point. I'm like,
But yeah.
But at the same time, you have to. That's an actual biohazard. You can't, or like that's why I'm flabbergasted that we're like, if they don't give you have to finish your shift if you don't have a spare change of clothes, and your clothes you are walking biohazard. I'm like, this has so many OSHA violations.
Yeah. Really, they pay for skin. The ambulance has to come get me at 2 at the end of my shift. I get paid for.
Let me tell you, if they tell me, oh, we're too short staffed and we can't allow you to leave, I'm be like, well, then I fucking quit. The fuck? I'm not gonna
I'm like, no, I'm
stand.
covered in poop. Because someone wanted to LARP as an actual monkey and chuck their feces at me. I'm like, no, no, fuck this. That would be just me. No, fuck this. I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done. I'm just done. I'm just gone. I don't care. What else. I'm like, you can fire me. I quit. I don't give a shit at this point. I'm done. I'm just done. If someone chucks feces at me, I'm like, no, I'm done.
I have a lot to say about my old job that's not positive, but at the very least I can tell you, at least both of the directors will do the following. Buy a new set of clothes, or you to take off your old clothes and toss it in a dumpster, and then send you, have you wash up in the bathroom, then they'll close the bathroom so they can wash up, and then, and that's assuming they have to have bike uniforms or a standing uniform. They could just put on the closet, which just they don't have to, and then send you home for the rest of the day because you're official biohazard and don't want you around customers.
Yep. But that was crazy.
Reese,
But
or like, not Reese, Goku. I have
yeah,
to show this episode to Jeff.
okay.
He needs to hear this shit. God.
But yeah,
Ah,
so here's another thing that they showed that, and to this I will say I understand a little bit, but when you add in everything else you're gonna tell people, this kind of makes it sound fucked up. But they, if you ever,
like the last thing was you did sound was fucked up. Go ahead.
if you get, let's say that an inmate has a knife to your throat and is trying to get to the front and everything, like he said, immediately as soon as he gets out the gate and whatnot, and he gets a few steps away, he'll just let you go. Like, he could 100% mean it. We have something, and some people may or may not know what these are, called sally ports. What a sally port is two gates and a little entrance in between them. So one gate opens, you go inside, you close that gate, and then the other gate will open. You open that gate, and then you close, and then that's how you know it goes from some places to place. They said that they will never negotiate a person from an inmate. Meaning, if this inmate says, "I will kill this person," or "I will kill this guard," if you don't open this other part of the sally port, they will not open that other sally port. They said we will never let an inmate go even for one of our own. That's basically how they said it. Was basically sums up how they said that.
I, I'm glad you quit. I'm honestly
You
glad you
should.
quit.
Yeah, because that sounds like that's like the biohazard. That's like the biohazard way to happen. And no offense, but I want.
That sort of thing really pisses me off because if the inmate ended up executing the guard, oh god, there would be such a huge lawsuit because of that. Because
Unless they have a brilliant contract that you can't touch it.
yeah, at that point, I'm like, I would just, if I was one of the other guards, I would just pop the inmate in the head.
Mhm. Oh, we don't get guns. We only get OC spray. I forgot to say
Oh
that.
because you're officially not
Okay,
cops.
Yeah.
okay, yeah, that makes sense in case they manage to or incapacitate you. Sorry, I'm a little drunk. If they manage to
Little bro.
incapacitate you, if they, God forbid, they knock you out and then they take your weapon.
Oh, thank you. You told me about that because you remind me of one. I forgot. I keep forgetting stuff. So anyway, there are
Well,
different
considering
groups.
the
You got
horror stories you've been talking about, yeah, this is a lot to take in.
you got there are a lot of different groups that you can join. Like you can join the Bark Bark group, aka the Canine group. You can join what I forgot what the name of it was, but I basically call it the SWAT team. So it's like the people who actually have gun training and everything, and so forth. There's a few other ones, but anyway, this is where I call politics of management comes in, because they said that there has been instances where a person on the SWAT team does not like a regular CO guard, or like ones who just don't have anything, and if they hear him call signal 3, it's more than that, but I'm just gonna call it signal 3, which basically means I need help, or and then they call for the unit. They have said that they took more longer than usual to get to them in order to restore order. If you're not liked, or if you, let's say that this person told that they were not doing stuff correctly, or that they were, doing that they weren't doing their jobs, then when it's time for them to come help that CO, they have took longer than expected. They said that has happened before, and that might happen.
I just,
They said it's
I'm
not
like, even
supposed,
if
it's
even
not
if
supposed to
someone
be.
who you don't like at work, I'm like, I honestly could not let someone just more like risk their, or like, I would not be able to live with myself.
Aren't we
Because
agreeing? I'm like,
even if it's someone I don't like,
oh,
if he ended up dying because of this, I'm like, I would not be able to live with myself.
Now, thankfully, no one has died at this. Like, no CO is on record ever died at this place.
Yeah, that's the thing
But
on record. But go ahead.
no, they've never. Well, according to what they're saying, and it's hard to cover that up. No one has ever died at this prison, but a lot of COs have gotten hospitalized at that prison, and I'm
Like
like, I
I
can
would
see
be just
why.
even at that point, I would be mortified.
Mm.
I was like, if just go. I might as well just resurrect Action Park and go there. Everyone got hospitalized. I had a good time.
At the same time, or like, because at my job, I put myself at risk all the time just so I don't have the student workers do some of the stuff that's like really dangerous or really scary because I don't want them to get hurt. And same with the regular dorm students when I've seen them do really stupid things and I have to call it out on them just so they don't hurt themselves. Case in point, when I'm cleaning stairwells and it's wet, and people who just push past me and then slip and fall and hurt themselves, and then they get mad at me like it's my fault when I already tried. When I still remember that one kid that just shoved right past me after I said, "Hey, it's not safe to walk," and I had signs out and everything, and he slipped and fell on himself, and then he gave me a dirty look and started cussing at me like it was somehow my fault when I already tried to warn him. It's
Yeah.
just this sort of thing where I'm like, I I stress myself out just to make sure everyone else is safe and are like, and I just to make sure they don't get hurt and they don't have any long lasting things because I would not be able to live with myself otherwise.
And at least in Sonora, we still one step above the aggression used against us. So they push, they can punch. And they punch, they can grab. If they grab, you can use a weapon. If they use a weapon, we can use a gun. And use a gun, we can shoot to kill. But obviously, they get past grabbing. But anyway, but that's the idea.
At the point, or
Because
like at the point, it's just that's just like it's horrifying, and that's how they just treat their own like their own staff members. And I'm like, I would not be able to. I honestly would not. I would tell them flat out. I could not. I would just say flat out after that got to that point in the training. I would say no, I'm done because I would if it got to that point. No, I don't care if you fire me. I will not do that. That is abhorrent
and
to me.
Yeah,
and my case, like, listen, we've been like when I was now obviously they changed the rules a lot, but when I was working at we were watch each other's back no
mm,
matter what. They're like, hey, don't get hey, someone's fighting also what's your fuck? Hey, like her, we're part of the team. Let's go watch hit her back. The only time I remember him someone wasn't not watching it back. So so the assistant director and our guards want to get a shoplifter. There's two of them. And one shoplifters try to grab the assistant director, but the security guard did nothing. And of course these are now what's supposed to happen was before he even grab the assistant director, the shoplifter should be hanging to the ground, be the officer. But just stand there like whistling Dixie. So the rest of the had to so the rest of the gang had to run up to get both shoplifters. Now thankfully the assistant director at the time was a former Marine. So he just rolled back and put him in his sleeper hold until the rest of us ran up.
mm.
but yeah, but yeah, I, but yeah, your job, your ex job, my old coworker would have been perfect for that because he had to sit around and do nothing. Well, eventually got fired and moved a couple of jobs, but you know what I mean.
I want to point out when I say this, I am not saying that I am saying this because I don't want to put bad precedent. They do say that was unacceptable and that man was fired. However, what I want to say is if it's gotten to the point where that is even an issue as a in a prison, that says something about how you all operate. I do not want to have to deal with even the thought that we as a collective unit, every C, I don't care if you don't like a CO when it's and prison, and I don't want to say this to make it sound messed up, it is legitimately you against the inmates. Now, that's not saying the inmates are bad people or that they need to be caged. A lot of times, prison is for rehabilitation. But when you are outnumbered, a lot of these inmates have nothing but time, and they want to do anything that can piss off the inmates. I mean, that can piss off the officers. That can, sometimes some of them just wants to do stuff because they're not mentally right or they have drugs or whatnot. That goes back to the trafficking issue. But if you're not running as a collective unit to where issues like that happening, there is something completely wrong with your entire management, and not even trying to retighten the strictness on policies is going to change that. You have to completely just you gotta, there's something that needs to change.
Yeah, some inmates will just feel like they have nothing to lose, and they'll do whatever it takes just to do whatever. If it means to ending the life of another, they will do. There are some people that will do that, and it's a mentality I will
especially
never understand.
especially people who's doing life in prison. Like I have
Yes.
nothing else to live, and it's too old to realize they're not going to leave prison,
And what
and they're out of their fine pine box. So
and this goes to
uh,
the last three choices and a what. So this was the last, and here's the last thing I'm going to say on this matter, because this is the thing that was also pissing me off. So when we were getting told, you take contraband from prisoners. However, we were getting told a lot of different things. There was one person who was a no nonsense woman. She said, "I just take it out of his damn hands." Like, you're not supposed to have that. But then another person was like, "No, you need to call a supervisor because you don't know what that inmate would do," which I can understand that to an extent. But then it was like, no, depending on the situation, you might just let them have it. You don't want to start nothing. What? Or you gotta wait. You gotta wait to maybe until he leaves his room and then you take it. Like what? Like one person is saying take it, another person is saying call a supervisor, and another person says you need to handle that situation. You need to handle the situation based on what happened. You'll eventually take it, but you may not need to take it right in that moment. But why are we getting so many different answers to a simple question? Take the damn phone. Whether or not you need to call somebody depends on the situation, but it goes back to the trafficking issue, which was the main thing that was always that they pounded on a lot. But I just can't understand it. Why is it like this? Like, I know prisons aren't supposed to be perfect, but this is just bad.
it's,
I
uh, I agree with Super. I'm glad you're out that it's singing
Yes. Oh
fine
my god.
because
I
literally,
even said to him after what he was describing, I'm like, I honestly believe that Goku's actual overall temperament after being around him, I'm like, it's just not appropriate for specifically that level for that type of job. It's just, or I'm like, especially with the horrors that he was describing, I'm like, no. He, he's young. He does not need to be experiencing that 1,000 yard stare early, that early where you just see but stuff that your brain cannot comprehend, and then you just are like, and it just changes you. I'm like, I'm 40, and I'm like, I would not be able to handle that shit.
Yeah, that's why when that happened, my nerves were already like, for a few days, my nerves was really getting to me, and I was getting to really to I was just getting really to some edges, and I was like, no, I can't do this. Look, I understand to a degree you can't let your
No,
nerves navigate your
this is
life, but
putting me in a dark
no,
place, in my brain in a dark place.
yeah,
I do not, and if I continue this, I just don't see it ending well. I'm like,
that's what
I
I'm
need
telling
to.
anybody who listens to this. When I say
You
this, I'm being honest. CO is not for everybody, and maybe yours is better, but this was just.
I don't know. I'm like more security. Yes, all right, and couple fights, but I'm not with prisoners. I'm not working 10, 15, 10, 10 hours a day for 8 hours pay. Like I can actually tell most of the customers are well same. Well, I can't call them same because anyone who works retail knows customers aren't sane, but at least 85% of the time they're gonna swing at me,
Mhm.
and then 15% of the time, at least until the new people took over, I can swing back.
Yep, that's
But yeah,
way
I'm not
tiny.
gonna deal with people pulling out shanks and pulling cell phones out their butts. I'm sorry.
And those shanks aren't little either. These are like metal shanks. These are, oh yeah, right. They left for some reason. They let the prisoners have razor blades sometimes. I
And
don't
and
I don't know.
and,
Or
and you
like,
just
well,
complete
they
my
need to
point,
for grooming
Goku.
and stuff
You
like
literally
that.
just complete my point.
Well, I get it for like personal grooming and stuff like that. Unless if you're thinking like the razor blades, as in for like not safety razors for actual shaving, but like razor blades for like other uses, like utility knives and shit.
Yeah, for personal grooming, but not every one of them uses them, and they just have them. So this entire prison sums up the fact of they were lax on the rules, and now they're trying to get back in order, and just with all the wrong micromanaging and everything else going on, it's just not going to happen. I hate to tell them that. I hate to be the one to tell them that, but someone's going to have to realize that you're going to have to change a lot more than just telling people we got to change policies if you want to get any kind of order back in there. Because the way they say it, the prisoners do a lot of trafficking. They kind of run it a little bit. A lot of the staff equals either newbies, some people who are just there because they have to be, because it pays the bills. Some people who are just too relaxed and don't care. And then the old senior staff who are on their way out anyway, who just said, it is what it is. That's really all that's in there.
I don't think we can cover any more at this point. We've been going on for over an hour and a half. Uh,
That's
the,
I covered every base. Yeah,
yeah. My
besides the water
brain.
issue, but
Yeah, my brain. Oh God.
And
Oh God.
and certainly I'm glad that Rob had to cancel the Pathfinder session for the day because I don't think I could. Because I don't think my brain could handle fighting a dragon.
Mhm.
Oh God. You know what? You know what? I think it's time we call it quits here.
Okay.
All right. I'm pulling it up. I'm pulling up the ending clip. Please, Red Ninja of Safety. Please, Red Ninja of Safety. Take us away from this.
Yeah, we need you more than
I
ever.
just want to go. I just want to go back to before I knew this. To a time before I knew these stories.
Like, like we need to now more than ever.
Red Ninja of Safety has spared us. We'll see you guys next time.